what's your favorite winter activity?
I don't have one.
Hibernating?
Hibernating.
Mine's like they call it bulking season. Bulk. I bulk up for the winter hibernation.
That's not a plan.
When you were a child, did you go trick-or-treating?
I don't know.
Like because you didn't care for it or because you weren't really allowed?
I wasn't really allowed.
I was allowed, but we had to dress up as non-scary things. I was a doctor one year with the Fisher Price kit. But what was your favorite thing that you got in your loot bag? Buddy.
So,
what was the favorite thing that you would get in a?
I don't have a favorite thing because I didn't really ever go.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought you did go, but
like
you
a couple
really
times, and it was like traumatic.
I remember getting pop and thinking like, what a big deal! Like,
Your mom
oh my
always
goodness,
gives pap.
My mom Nana gives the pap. If you're up in Upper Orleans, go by her house for some pap.
There's no trick or treating this year. Who are you talking to? Like,
why is there no
trick or treating?
COVID's not going to take
away. Are
you
aware that they are saying on the news that we are in a second wave?
Yeah. You can't trick or treat?
Go to random stranger's house and stick your hand into a bucket that how many other kids have stuck their hand into to take some candy?
When you put it like that, it's a very COVID-y activity, yes.
Or maybe the children will just walk down the street 2 meters apart and we can just throw candy at them, but then the candy is still contaminated, so the kid will have to spray it with disinfectant before they pick it up and put it in their bag.
I would participate in the Halloween activity of chucking candy from my door to the end of my driveway for people to gather.
We have never given out candy in this house. We've lived in this house since 2005, and we have never given out candy.
We're always busy on Halloween. It's not because
Jordan always had hockey.
There's always something, yeah. and then sometimes we go out and leave Jordan.
No. We would take the kids to your parents' house when they were little, and then he had hockey, and then we just were like, well, we've never given out candy before. Why start now?
Why start now? we're the lights off house.
Oh, we're terrible people.
Horrible
people.
Do you think Christmas will get canceled?
Okay, this is the worst live feed ever. Everybody is so depressed now. They're like, unfollow.
I feel depressed.
You just literally like...
Look at this gourd.
Okay, I asked you to throw that out. You need to grow up. I should have known when I went to the farmer's stand that you were not mature enough to have that gourd in our house.
That gourd can turn around any conversation. Happy Halloween. Have a gourd. Wow, my face is red. What day is it? The first?
We're going to start off with a prayer for John.
Oh my goodness.
October 1st.
My eyes are watering. I can't read. Whew, it's a short one.
I'm sorry.
Trick or treat. Here's your gourd. There's other less provocative gourds like that.
Nothing about that gourd was provocative. Just so you know.
Anyway, my son and me had a conversation about it this morning, so you might be wrong. Okay, here we go. Get our spirituality on. We need this more than probably anybody that
you need this.
I do need this. That's why I'm here every day doing devos, because I need it. All right, October the 1st. Be who you are.
No, be grown up. Be a grown up.
Wow. This has been my favorite intro of all times. Because basically...
you ruined the holidays.
Basically, Melody Beattie just said, be who you is. Don't be controlled by the codependent sitting next to you. Man, I feel like I won that round. I feel like if there was a round, I won it.
Okay. Maybe you guys just need to
I think we should just finish
right
now and walk away. I think that's all I need.
You're going to read.
Okay.
You're going to read.
Okay.
And as you read this, you're going to think about yourself, not about other people.
I'm going to contemplate and meditate.
And I'm going to think about myself.
Okay.
I'm not going to think about you.
Be who you are.
Okay.
In recovery, we're learning a new behavior. It's called Be Who You Are. For some of us, this can be frightening. What would happen if we felt what we felt, said what we wanted, become firm about our beliefs, and valued what we needed? What would happen if we let go of our camouflage of adaptation? What would happen if we owned our power to ourselves? Would people still like us? Would they go away? Would they become angry? There comes a time when we become willing to and ready to take the risk. To continue growing and living with ourselves, we realize we must liberate ourselves. It becomes time to stop allowing ourselves to be so controlled by others and their expectations, and to be true to ourselves regardless of the reaction of others. Thinking about myself. Before long, we begin to understand. Some people may go away, but the relationship would have ended anyway. Some people stay and love and respect us more for taking the risk of being who we are. We begin to achieve intimacy and relationships that work. We discover that who we are has always been good enough. It is who we were intended to be. Prayer for myself. Today, I will own my power to be myself. I feel that God transforms. Addiction transforms us, and it's not our true selves, but then as I turn my will and my life over to the power of God, he transforms my heart, and I become like literally a new creation. I remember to stay sober, I had to be in service to God, and I started working at a care home for men. And I remember one of the men, he was a very big man, and he had a machine, and he asked me in my first week to tuck him in. And in my head, I was like, I don't do that. Yeah. I didn't see that in the job description. Anyway, I remember looking at myself over here going, this isn't who I am, but what I'm doing, I enjoy it. And I'm like super proud of myself. I'm glad no one's watching me right now. And I'm super uncomfortable with this new me, this new heart that I really want to, tuck a man in and pray for him and, serve him. And so I think we get to know who we are as we come into recovery, because there's things that I did in my early recovery that I'm like, I have no clue who I am. This is so awkward. But then I enjoyed doing it because I wasn't drunk. And so we can live life in who we're designed to be.
That's good.
How about you?
Well, this is a hard time for me. This is a awkward place for me because everything about this year has been about looking at my character defects, and so it's really hard to think like, oh, I just need to be who I am, when lots of my headspace and lots of the time is spent pointing out the things about me that need to change and are not acceptable and pleasant for the people that I live with. So I think.
But the hope is, people can be in the transition of becoming who God has designed and intended them for be. Because I'll do a class at the treatment center, and it's going into core identity, and I just ask a bunch of guys like, "Who are you?"
Right.
And like the smart ones look down and don't want to answer it, and then there's always the guys that always answer about what they do, what they've done, how much time they've done, all that stuff. But that's not who you are.
Right.
So this is way bigger than it would give it credit for, because who we are is our full true identity within our spirit. Yeah. So if we've got a crushed and wounded, destroyed spirit, God's going to breathe life into it. So most of us have no clue who we are until we start in a healing process where the Spirit of God actually breathes life into us, and we become who we're supposed to be.
Right, which doesn't mean be who you are. So you just contradicted yourself. So that's why I say it's difficult, because there's just lots of hard about it was easier when I had a job to go to and I had purpose and I had the ability to, you know, and that's the difficult thing about just, you know, sitting and learning, and it's, yeah, I think it's hard to, I mean, and then on the other hand, so for me, one of my core issues is that I ruminate and I overthink and thoughts spin in my head, and then the negative takes on like such a big place in me, in my thoughts and in my head, and so it's very easy for me to focus on the negative. I think we talked about that a few days ago, and not yeah. So
well, I think the cool part that we do is when we're feeling like those, we turn to God and go, God, Father, what would you have me be?
Right.
And I think this is a good one, that it's not to be who other people want you to be, but who God has created you to be. Yeah. You know, the question that I was going to ask, do you have a shirt that have got comments? What's the most clothing item that you've ever had commented on?
What? No one comments on my clothes.
Really?
Well, not usually, no. I mean, some guy commented on my legs the other day. I was walking to the car and I thought he was commenting. I was at the car, and so I thought he was talking about the car. Like, I thought he said nice wheels, which, yeah, have a nice car.
You just made the conversation icky.
And so I was like, oh. And the worst part is that I kind of like, I smiled and was like, yeah, because I thought he was talking about the car. And then it was like, as I was loading the groceries, I was like, I think he said legs. Ew. Weird. Ew. It was weird. I was like, I didn't know.
But you don't have a top that people are like, oh my goodness, that is.
So I'm just trying to. Okay, so my Hope Girls tank top that I literally wore all summer. You told me all the time how tan it made me look. So I wore it literally all the time. And then I don't know. No, I'm not seeing any people.
You know the number one clothing item that I've ever worn that people make comments on?
Your straight out of rehab shirt.
Straight out of rehab shirt. For real, I'll walk downtown and people are like, oh, nice shirt, man. I had one lady at the bank. She goes, you've never been to rehab. I'm like, lady, you have no clue. I think that this shirt,
that's funny.
It gives the opportunity for conversation, but then at the same time, it's like, I believe that it brings humility, but then everybody should go to rehab. Everybody needs rehab. You know, Jesus came to save the lost, the lonely, and the little. We need a savior, and so we can get that in a rehab time. Rehab life. Anyway, that's. Good I'm glad you got nice legs.
I was like, wow, I didn't know people. Anyway. Straight out of rehab. Maybe that's what I need to do then, is walk around in a straight out of rehab shirt.
Maybe at the end of this video, if anybody's watching, if you have a gourd, would you send a picture of your gourd?
No.
I want to see gourd pictures. Oh, wait, look at this gourd. It's like a UFO. Is that even a gourd or is that a mushroom?
Patty pan. Patty pan?
You should never say that in public.
You can eat it.
You can eat everything.